Oops. There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. Still trying to get the hang of the new software and everything. But thank you guys for being here. Good morning. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you guys are having a good morning so far. Daylight savings time where I'm at. And quite frankly, this weather, it must have rained or something last night. So bear with me if I'm squinting a lot or something. It's my sinuses are killing me this morning. But in any case, I am here. Welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean. And we're here today. Now, I know I said I wasn't going to do a Three Thoughts stream. Yesterday, I didn't necessarily at the time think that, you guys would get a lot out of it simply because we spent, the entirety of the 90 minutes together yesterday, which isn't a complaint on me. I just figured, you guys didn't want to hear anything else I had to say. But there has been a lot of chatter online following our 1-1 draw with Chelsea. A lot of it aimed at the players, a lot of it speculating on Amram. Obviously, Sir Jim Ratcliffe has had some interesting comments to say this week on the squad and the club and everything. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that. But I also figured I would just go ahead and do three thoughts because I do have three thoughts. But as always, this isn't just to hear my thoughts. I want to hear yours as well. Manchester United drew 1-1 to Chelsea at home in a match. At the time, ahead of kickoff, we probably would have been forgiven if you weren't too confident in it, given the form of both our sides. Chelsea are doing really well. We are struggling. Obviously, we've sacked the manager. That's how bad it gets. But it ended up being one of those matches where, I have to say I really felt like we should have really gotten 3 points from it as it progressed. Not because of the overall performance, but simply down to the clear-cut opportunities that we had in front of goal. Like with some simple finishing, clinical finishing, we could have got something from this, despite kind of the lackluster display all over the place. And I don't think I'm alone in thinking that, a bit less selfishness, a bit more clinical finishing, and we could have had one or two more goals and a bit more brain cells from the refereeing, and we could have had a deserved penalty as well. But in any case, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your opinions on the match as I share my three takeaways from what was honestly, it was a decent point against Chelsea, right? Again, but again, they're a tough side as well. And they've got Cole Palmer, and Cole Palmer +1 is always the majority, it seems. But it was still a frustrating 90 minutes in spite of all that. So I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your feelings. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are on the road to 2K. We're getting there. As you can see, I've up to the production value. I'm not trying to flex. I'm just, this is a minimal expectation, but we are doing it. So let's keep going and share my first thought on the match. So number one, Garnot that guy yet. He's just not. He's just not that guy at all. I think that you'd be seeing a lot of hate online. I've seen a lot of hate online towards Garnacho, and I think that it's really just kind of unwarranted in some respects. The hate, I don't agree with. The criticism, I do. I get the frustration, though. I'm frustrated with him, too, after that result yesterday. 1 of 9 duels, not a good look. Dallying on the ball, losing the ball, not running back to try to make up for it is not a good look. And Casemiro let him know it wasn't a good look. Not Garnacho's best performance by a long shot at all. And we can criticize the display. We can criticize the numbers. We can criticize the decision-making. We can criticize the selfishness. And all that is legitimate. I was saying it just as much yesterday during the watch-along, right? But I also think we need to zoom out the lens just a little bit and look at the situation with a bit of context, not just the 90 minutes. Garnacho is a player. He's young. He scored 2 goals in 2 finals for us under Erik ten Hag. And again, he's 20 years old. We can't judge a 20-year-old like he's the finished article. United TV, good morning, my friend. Thank you, Rich, for stopping by. Seeing a lot of hate, which is way overboard regarding players. Yeah, I think that there's going to be a fine line, right, between the hate and the criticism. And I think people are letting the season kind of bleed into the criticism of the match. I think they're letting some of their feelings about players overall kind of impact their decision a little bit. Um, and I get it. It's human nature, but I think again, context is key. And Garnacho is young. He will develop. He will hopefully improve, but he's simply not there yet. He's just not. Some of that's going to come from coaching, as he's the coaching. When you're young players, you need to have these things coached into you. You need to have some of the stuff coached out of you, and we're going to see more of that. Again, he's 20 years old. Some of it's going to come from experience. Some of the things, whether it's defending, keeping, striking, whatever, you only learn from getting minutes under your legs, getting matches, just getting disappointments, going through the highs, going through lows. That's the only way you're going to learn some of this stuff. And he's got time on his side there. But some of it is also going to have to come from Garnacho's mentality and his attitude. Is he going to push himself? Is he going to work hard? Is he going to be humble? Is he going to be selfless? Is he going to rise to the challenge that is being a professional footballer that is playing for Manchester United? If he wants to go on to someplace maybe like Madrid, Barcelona, whatever someday, is he going to do the hard work now to earn one of those moves? Maybe this is going to be a crucial time for Garnacho. And he needs to take this opportunity to learn and challenge himself, like I said. But I also think he probably needs to stop trying to cosplay as Ronaldo, too. He's not that guy yet, as it implies here, because he's just not. So I think that it's more damning, though, that a 27-year-old Marcus Rashford has been just as poor, if not worse in some cases. And he has and continues to make the same mistakes that he did when he was 20, Marcus Rashford. I think that to me is a bit more damning. Garnacho also has to try and learn to grade. Yeah, Garnacho, my biggest frustration with Garnacho, again, part of it, it's half age, half just decision-making, which is probably the same thing, but he just doesn't get his head up enough. I knew in that one of those last moments of the game where he did get picked out on that left side, he was open. I knew, and I said it, you guys remember during the live stream, you knew as soon as he got that ball about 15 yards outside of the box, he was only going to take on that shot. No matter how much work there was left to be done, no matter who else was in it, but he was only going to try to take that shot on himself. And that's exactly what happened. He could have tried to put in a ball across for Rashford. He could have cut it back a little bit for Højlund, but he didn't. He just kept going. Garnacho has a bad habit of getting into those situations and just trying to lash with his left foot, which never comes off. In this case, this particular instance, it didn't just go into the side netting like it has, but he flashed it across the entire face of goal, and it just went wide, kind of fluffed his lines a little bit. So wasn't the best effort from him, wasn't the best decision from him personally, but that is what you're going to get. Like I've said many times, the most consistent thing you're going to get from youngsters is inconsistency. And we've seen that many times, and that's just part of it. So Garnacho is not that guy yet, but he has the potential. He has the talent. He has that precociousness like we've seen, but that'll also get kind of watered down with age as well. But it's up to him now if he wants to get that out of him. The trick is, like, clearly Ten Hag saw something in Garnacho. He promoted him. Clearly we saw something in him to bring him from Atletico Madrid's academy. He was integral to the Youth Cup for the FA Youth Cup. Like I said, scored 2 goals in 2 finals for us. But it's on him now to move forward, to develop. We'll see if Amorim thinks as highly of him as Ten Hag does, and see if he's got a place in an Amorim system. The interesting thing with Amorim's system is we call them wingbacks, and on paper they are wingbacks, but at the same time, if you look at the players who play in those positions, they actually started off as wingers. And so there could be an opportunity for Garnacho, Rashford to kind of get shunted to the wing in those wingback roles if Dalot and Mazraoui aren't there. There's a lot of opportunities here, and I think that what we've also seen from Amorim is he also can be tactically flexible at times. So it's going to be interesting to see who has a place in this squad or not. It seems like you guys really want to have that conversation. It's leading the votes in the poll right now in terms of that stream we're going to plan for the international break, looking at Ruben Amorim's system, who fits, who doesn't, and maybe we'll also add in there some targets that maybe we could bring in to suit that system a little better. I don't know yet. That's going to require a whole extra bit of legwork, but I don't have a problem doing it if it's something you guys want to see. Rich says we probably overplayed Manu and Garnacho last season. Yeah, I do think that's what you're going to get as well. Obviously, Manu's was a big part of the plans, and we didn't really have a whole lot of other options. Garnacho, too, we don't have a whole lot of options wide right now. Anthony's injured. Ahmad can come in, but right now I feel like we need two adequate rotation options for Rashford and Garnacho because neither of them are doing it. And like you're saying, Rich, they're young, and so Garnacho really shouldn't be starting as many games as he is. But that's not his fault. The manager is going to pick that. Problem is we don't have any options. You could argue Ahmad should probably maybe get some minutes, but is Rashford more deserving to stay on, or is Garnacho? It's difficult. United TV says it'll be tough to call Amarim works to play. It is going to be tough, and we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. But again, I think it's going to say a lot who's starting and who's not, who's getting minutes and who's not. I think it's going to be a big part about who's willing to take on the challenge. Because Rich, like on your channel the other day, ahead of the Chelsea match, I forget what the other guy's name was, the co-host with the Chelsea fan, but he was absolutely right. What Amarim has done is he's taken a lot of players out of position with their normal position, and he's helped them fit into their system, kind of like what Pep did with Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva was a winger at Monaco, and now he's like an 8 basically at City, sometimes dropping into a deep-lying playmaking role. And sometimes you can do that, but again, that's on the player, and that's a mentality thing. Are the players going to be happy to take on that challenge? Can you look at can a manager like Amarim disseminate a player's qualities and see where else they might do well, and then try to fit them in by maybe adding a couple more different things, mentally, physically, tactically, whatever that is? Who's to say that Garnacho might not be put to a striking role or that one of those wingback roles if he wants to track back? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting, like you say. Heading off, Rich. No problem, man. Thanks for stopping by, brother. I'll check out your stream later on today, but thank you for stopping by. So it's going to be interesting right now, but let's move on to number 2. Again, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new. Number 2, we cannot buy a goal right now to save our lives. It is not looking pretty right now. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Here, let's do this. Boom. We'll do this. So number 2, can't buy a goal. I've said this so many times already this season, but I have to keep saying it because, quite frankly, nothing has changed. Danny, big up, my guy. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the video, bud. Good to see you. Hope your morning's going well. Let me know how your weekend ended up. So we have to keep saying this because nothing has changed. We don't score enough goals. 9 goals in 10 Premier League games is not a good look. In fact, it's the lowest goal tally we've had at this point in the season since the early 70s when we were relegated. I mean, we're 6 points off top 4, so I'm not panicking by any means, but we simply have to start scoring. There's no other way around it. Like yesterday, we have to start scoring. And it's not a system thing. We've said this many times, even under Ten Hag. It's not a system thing. It's a player thing. It's a quality in the final third thing. We're 4th in the league for shot creating actions per 90, but we're at or near the bottom when it comes to converting the chances we create. So why do you think that is? What's the issue? Is it lack of quality in personnel? Is it poor decision making? Is it lack of confidence? Is it selfishness? Højlund had no shots at all against Chelsea, but he did manage to create 2 chances for his teammates. So, is that what a striker's job is? You guys tell me what you think. I'm going to move this off the screen now. Rashford and Garnacho should be the ones who are picking out Højlund, not the other way around. So, I'm sorry, I'm just messing around with some stuff here. I shouldn't be doing this while I'm live, but I'm still getting used to the new software. There we go. So Rashford and Garnacho really need to be picking out Højlund, but not the other way around. And they need to be creating chances for him, not completely wasting the chances that he creates for them. I've seen Højlund go in on Garnacho for not picking him out. Should he do it more? Should Højlund be giving it to his wing? I know he's new and he's young, and Rashford's like a senior player, but is Højlund, would he be more warranted in having a go at him for not doing his job? Berbatov was at the match, if you guys looked in the stands, and he gave some thoughts on the pitch side afterward, and he had some thoughts on Højlund. He said he has talent in him, but he's too nice on the pitch. He has to be more angry to his teammates, especially if he makes a run and the ball does not arrive to him. I think if you find Hoyland with the ball, odds are he's going to score. I mean, we've seen it. It's why we have him here. It's not complicated, but we seem to make everything more complicated and more difficult than it needs to be at United. Putting away these clear-cut chances, picking out an open man in the box, like this shouldn't be that hard, but it is, and it's going to cost us this season. Ten Hag said it many, many times that we're just not, clinical in front of goal. We're not, dangerous. We're not, whatever he said. Bruno finally mentioned it as well. After the match, he shared some of his conversations with Ten Hag after Ten Hag was sacked. He said, "It's not good for anyone at the club when the manager goes. You have to take some of the blame on yourself because it is the team that is not doing well, and it's easier to get rid of a manager than 15 players. I spoke to the manager and apologized. We are not scoring goals, and I feel responsible. I normally score a lot of goals, but I always give 100%, and he's aware of that." What we got going on here? Hoyland, Danny B says, Hoyland done it to Dallo last year, and I heard him, and Bruno fell out with him. Yeah, I remember those moments. I remember him going in on Garnacho, going in on Bruno, going in on Dallo. I think that he's totally within his rights to do that. Nobody should be excused from making a bad decision. We should hold themselves to a higher standard, and they should be able to take criticism even from their own teammates. I don't care how old you are, how long you've been at the club. Wrong decision is a wrong decision, no matter who's calling you up for it. That's just the way it is. Danny B says, so they look at Rasmus like, who the fuck you think you are? Well, he's the guy who had one of the best conversion rates in the league last year. He's the guy who scores goals. He's the guy who's clearly is creating for them too, right? And they're just not returning the favor. Darko, welcome. How are you doing, my friend? He says the players are of mediocre level, and Erik Ten Hag was also at the same level. We will see. Danny B says players think they are better than they are, and he does agree with you, Darko. Yeah, we're gonna get to that for the second. In a second here. Danny B says, or Darko says we would have lost at Erik Ten Hag been the dugout. We'll never know, will we? It is what it is, because Ten Hag's system was creating chances that the same chances that Ruud was getting us to create yesterday, and we were still fluffing our lines. We were still making the wrong decisions. It's one of those you can lead a horse to water thing. The system can put players in the best positions, but at the end of the day, it's up to them to put away these chances. It's up to them to get their head up and pick out a teammate. As we're seeing, just no one's doing that. We already spoke about Garnacho a little bit, not getting his head up, holding onto the ball a little too much, the wrong decision, wanting to go for glory rather than, finding a teammate who's in a better position. I just had this conversation with Justin the other day. We were just kind of kicking around, talking about doing some indoor, and it's just like, there are situations where maybe I'm making a run and even though I'm making the run, I'm not in the right position, and Justin is in the better position to just take the shot rather than try to find me. And sometimes it's not about, finding an open teammate. Sometimes it's all about who's in the best position. And sometimes if that means you take the shot yourself, go for it. Other times it doesn't. But that is the kind of thing, that discernment, that decision-making that I say is going to come with experience. But at the end of the day, it starts with getting your head up, looking around. Like, that's all we need to do. So many of these players, especially Rashford and Garnacho, have tunnel vision when they get into the final third. Everybody's showing some love in the chat. Darko wants to know if I was never Ten Hag in or out. Like I said many, many times, to me, that was kind of an unnecessary, irrelevant debate to have. Like I said, the players, Ten Hag, they will decide the fate. It is what it is. All you can do is just support them, whether you agree with them, whether you don't, and you can demand better. You can criticize, give praise when it's justified as well. But at the end of the day, I don't get into the in or out debates. I just don't see the point. And like I've said many times, it probably makes me very boring, and that's fine. I just don't like having these kind of go nowhere debates, because at the end of the day, let's say we had an Erik Ten Hag in or out debate. Where is it going to go? No one's going to concede. No one's going to change their mind. No one's going to listen to, evidence. No one's going to listen to anything that contradicts their own view. Everybody's just going to get entrenched in their own opinion, and that's fine. But I just don't like wasting my time on debates like that personally, because again, like I said, they don't go anywhere. And so I'd rather just move on. Let's talk about other things, and we can criticize. Like I said, we can praise, we can demand more, we can analyze, but that's all we can do. So Dana B says, same result, nothing changed. Yeah. Darko, Garnacho's doing what Rashford and Bruno are doing. And that's the thing; it's trickling down a little bit, and hopefully with some coaching, it doesn't. We do need some leaders on the pitch as well. Justin, good morning, my guy. How are you doing, my friend? Rich still here, getting involved. I do appreciate that. Everybody's showing love. So, in any case, we can't buy a goal. The players aren't doing enough this season, and the lack of quality in front of goal is front and center. It's kind of rising to the top in terms of the things that are not doing right, whether it's the actual shot, the final pass, the decision making, not getting your head up and find a teammate in a better position, holding on to the ball too long, or just kind of lacking the confidence to take the shot. Period. None of it has been good enough, and it needs to change because what is going on here? What is happening? In any case, it needs to change because we're not gonna go anywhere if it doesn't. Amarim's Sporting side, they never failed to find the back of the net, and maybe with Ruud sticking around, it could be the perfect blend of coaching, Amarim's system, Ruud's striking history to get us firing again. We're gonna see, but in any case, it's got to improve. So we'll see what everyone's saying here in the chat. Everybody's showing the love. I do appreciate that. Why is this doing this? That is weird. Sorry, y'all. Just still figuring out the new software. Any case, that's fine. United TV says Amarim has a tough job getting the best out of our attackers. Again, I don't know what else we can do to get the best out of them when it comes to that final shot, when it comes to that last decision, the selfishness versus the passing. Like, I don't get what else you can do as a coach other than just tell them stop it or do this, not that. At the end of the day, it's up to them in the moment to do it. I just don't get I'm not saying I disagree. I just literally don't know what else an actual human being manager can do to get another human being player to do anything better or different or stop doing stupid things. I don't get it other than simply not playing them and see if someone else can do it. I legitimately, but that's why I'm not a manager. I don't know. Danny says he realized quickly how many not good enough, Rich. Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully he should already know, like you were saying the other day, Danny, he should already know who's just not going to cut it. I think that he'll give everyone a fair shot, but I think he already go in with a little bit of reputation that some of these players are carrying around. Darko says, Rich, not only attackers, but out of all the mediocre players as well. Everybody get involved. I do like to see it. Darko, we are now only dependent on Amarim's system and formation to save our season. If his style of play fails, we are in the mud big time. Yeah, we're going to see what happens. It's going to be interesting, but we're moving on to number 3 here. Number 3, an overhaul is needed. Now, I know that everyone's going to see that and they're going to say, well, you've already spent such and such money. Whenever a United fan says anything about a rebuild or an overhaul, rivals are automatically going to cry. You spend such and such, Ten Hag spent such and such. It doesn't matter how much money you spend if you spend it poorly. And again, Ten Hag didn't spend the money. The Glazers did. Woodward did before that. Ineos did. Ten Hag doesn't control the price of a player. Managers don't control the price or the wages. It's just the way it is. Plain and simple. What is going on here? Still kicks out. But again, the example I give $100 to a 6-year-old and give $100 to a 60-year-old and let them loose in a grocery store and see how they spend it. And you're going to see what happens. In this analogy, the Glazers and Woodward, those are the 6-year-old, by the way. So it's just it's not about how much you spend. It's about how you spend it. So much of life is not about the spending. It's about the investing, whether it's your time, your money, your energy. Trying to look at it as things that you spend. Try to look at it as things you're investing in. What are we investing in? Are we investing for a future as a club? Are we investing for an overall squad composition? It's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Ineos have already moved pretty quickly. They've got really good players, and I think they should have moved a little faster personally in the summer. But I do think that a lot of that was more financial than anything. But I do think it didn't put us in the best position starting the season. But it is what it is. United TV says, YouTube wise, let me know if any of you are interested in being mods. I'm having a bit of a reset on my channel. Okay, yeah, I'm interested to see what's going on with the channel, man. But yeah, big up, you guys. Go check out Rich's channel. I popped on there before, jumped on the panel, had some thoughts, got some good guests on there, some good regulars. But it is a good little channel. Little, don't mean little, like, sorry, just something I say. But yeah, it is a good channel. United TV says, I also hope the club listens to Amarim. They should. I don't know why you would bring in a manager and not listen to what they have to say, but Danny B, more of a chance his influence and tactics won't work if he does it in small doses. Yeah. United TV, Chelsea have also spent crazy money but didn't create too much. Yeah, and and I said it a couple times during the match. Like, we're keeping Palmer pretty quiet. I didn't think we got to see. Again, it's Cole Palmer. It's very difficult to control him 100%, and I think Ugarte struggled just a little bit. But I think that he and Casemiro and Rashford were just kind of getting left behind a lot. Chelsea have a lot of pace and a lot of skill in their side, especially in those attacking positions. And Cole Palmer was getting into good positions. Sometimes it was just we were able to cut out the service. We were able to kind of keep him a little quiet in the final third, which I'm happy about. He didn't really cause a whole lot of problems. Honestly, the only goal they had came from a shot from outside the box off a set piece, yes, but it wasn't about the defending of the set piece itself, because I thought we did fine to control that. It was one of the few corners I saw us actually clear. Just nobody's alive to the second ball. And we see that all over the pitch, and we've seen that over many years now. We don't do really well to win second balls in a variety of situations, and it cost us yesterday. It was the same kind of goal we've conceded against, many players. I remember Ruben Neves scored a worldie like that against us, because that's what he's known for. And I said it at the time. Corner comes out to the edge of the box, and this is where Ruben Neves earns his paycheck. Like, nobody did any sort of oppositional analysis ahead of the match to be like, don't give Neves time and space on the ball outside the box, because he'll score a screamer. It's annoying. Danny B says he'll quickly realize all these players can do is counter. I've been saying that for years. So Bruno, Rashford, even Garnacho to an extent, even defenders that we've bought over the years, someone like Maguire, for instance, so much better in a low block counter-attacking system than any sort of tactical system where you have to kind of slow things down a little bit and be a little bit more patient, keep the ball on the ground. So we're going to see what happens. It's going to be an interesting summer. Arsenal spent quite a bit, and look at them be dropping off if they're failing to win anything. I think Arsenal might have peaked. I think they had their shot, they took it, and they missed. And I don't think that Arteta is that guy. Personally, I don't think Arteta is that guy. But Arsenal fans ain't ready to have that conversation. No one wants to talk about. He's been here how many years? 5-6 years. He's won less trophies than Ten Hag in 2.5 years. So we'll see. I want to jump on number 3 here, though. So, again, overhaul needed. So, again, suffice it to say, many of these players just aren't good enough. That's going to happen, though, when you still have Mourinho players, you still have Ollie players, you've got a squad that's got stopgap players in it, or even second, third choice signings. When you lose players and injuries and all we get is loanees in January who, quite frankly, weren't good enough in Weghorst, things like that. We could have spent a little bit more that January and maybe swooped and got Marcus Thuram, who was going to be leaving on a free that summer. But again, this is the kind of penny pinching that we did before. And this is also going to happen when you have zero strategy when it comes to scouting, recruitment, when you overpay for players, when you overpay players and their wages. This is what's going to happen in terms of the quality, in terms of the effort. Roy Keane was talking about nobody wants to run. Like, we've seen it many times. Rashford doesn't want to run. Garnacho doesn't want to run. Like, it's really, really frustrating. It does my head in. Cream rises to the top. Quality does shine through. But again, the other side of that coin is so will the lack thereof. The shit will float, and we see it. We saw it against Chelsea. I think we did create arguably the better scoring opportunities, but on the day. But aside from that, it wasn't overall a really great showing. I thought the passing was woeful, decision making was woeful, defending in and around the box at times was woeful, shooting, dribbling, challenging for duels. Like I said, Garnacho 1 out of 9 duels, not great. Ugarte didn't really do that hot in winning his duels. Højlund wasn't winning a whole lot of his ground duels as well. Like, it just, Chelsea they showed up, they were energetic, they pressed us. We were struggling to get the ball to each other. It was not great. Take your pick out of all those things. It was piss poor. on the day. And it's just been like that on the season. Ten Hag made mistakes. Yes, you guys know I've been critical of Ten Hag's mistakes, but a fair few of these players just don't have it. And now that they don't have a scapegoat anymore in Ten Hag, they got a new manager arriving this week. It's going to be interesting. You'd think the players didn't quite know that there's a new manager on the way, though, the way they're playing. Like, none of these players played yesterday like they want a new manager to pick them, in my opinion. Darko says Chelsea hasn't got a top manager yet for their top players. I think Chelsea, honestly, and I know I say this and it sounds like it's just petty and rivalry. It's not. I think Chelsea are in a new manager bounce. I think that, again, like Ange last season, like Wolves last season, Gary O'Neill, I think they're going to regress to the mean. And after a few more months, we're going to see where Chelsea's level at right now. Where's the longevity? We're already kind of seeing it with Arsenal. I mean, it's part of football. You do get that new manager bounce. Yeah, Danny B wants to link up with you, Rich. I'm going to get caught up on the comments here. United TV, if Amram doesn't rate players, I hope we move them on. I hope so too. It's just we know Barada has his policy right. We know that Amram's got a very system specific, and while Amram can do a really good job because he's shown that he can take players in some positions and kind of mold them into different positions on the pitch, I don't know if all these players that we have can do that. Like Danny was saying, like I've said, like these players, a lot of them don't have the footballing IQ. A lot of them don't have the tactical nous to be able to. They don't know how to press. They can't do anything but counterattack. Nobody can read situations very well. It's all just fast-paced counterattack. And if that doesn't break down, then they just give up. Amram's going to have some tactics. He does do a lot of compact, pressing high, dropping midfielders deep. I think he will really like Onana, the way he likes his keeper to kind of come up and be part of and kind of make himself part of that back three for a second when we're building out from the back. But a lot of these players need to learn, like go get like Football for Dummies or something books and start reading, because some of these players cannot hang. And, I think Rashford is at risk of maybe being moved on even. I don't know what your guys' hot takes are in terms of players who should be sold or might be sold, but if we do that Amram video, that kind of keep sell, make or break video, we will talk about that as well. Arsenal fell short a couple players. Arsenal's problem, in my opinion, was not getting a better striker. Gabriel Jesus is not a striker. Kai Havertz is not a striker. Everybody got gassed up last year when Havertz started scoring some goals, but they don't have a striker. They don't have a good one anyway. They really should have gone for an Osimhen or a Vlahovic or whatever they needed to do, but they didn't, and it's costing them. It really is. And again, like we've seen City when they miss Rodri, Arsenal without Odegaard are struggling. So, United TV says, really need to head off now. I'll catch you guys later. No problem, man. Thanks. We'll link up a little later on, man. I'll message you. But thanks for stopping by, Rich. Darko says, they're on the way out of the player's contract then, but then Bruno and Rashford have contracts till eternity. Yeah, I mean, somebody might want to pay for that. This is probably going to be the last year to get anything decent for Rashford. Bruno will probably go to the Saudi league in a year or so. I don't know. But Bruno seems to kind of have that Ronaldo thing where he's like 30, but still plays like he's like 25. Like, I think that Bruno will be fine. Problem is Bruno's just not having a great season. Unfortunately. But yes, Rich, thank you, man. Appreciate the love. Make sure you are dropping a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. As far as the overall goes, Amarim and Ineos are going to have a big job on their hands. And one might think that Sir Jim also realizes it after the comments that he made this week. He said, I think there's one little crossover in terms of sailing and football, which is that you cannot win the America's Cup if you arrive at the America's Cup with a boat that could win the America's Cup. I don't know what the America's Cup is, so I don't follow sailing. He says, same in Formula One. Max Verstappen and a Williams, he's not going to win the Formula One championship. With football, it's the same with the squad in a way. That's the parallel for me. You can't win anything in football if your squad isn't good enough to win something. One might think that makes it pretty clear that Sir Jim doesn't think some of our players are good enough. I know we all think a lot of them aren't good enough. Could he be hinting at more of a rebuild? Could some big names be sold? Barada has his 2-year policy, and I do think that a fair few of United's players could be put in the shop window once Amarim does arrive. even as early as January, in my opinion, for a couple of them. But you guys let me know what you think. Danny's throwing the love. Danny says, how the fuck he win 2 trophies with that squad? Exactly. People aren't giving Ten Hag enough credit. What Ten Hag did in his first season at United was nothing short of spectacular, miraculous. Winning his first trophy, the first trophy available to him, getting third place finish. His win percentage was on point. His points per game was on point. He had more wins in his first 50 matches at an English club than a lot of other these managers did. He did more in his first season than Pep did, than Klopp did. Like, it was a big deal. It tapered off, yes, once you start to implement more of his system, because I don't think maybe in the end that his system was working as well in this league with these players. It is what it is. But calling Ten Hag great, calling him in or out is a separate conversation than acknowledging what he did, in my opinion. So, a lot of luck, yeah. They can't even counter anymore. Yeah, they're not doing so hot, are they? So it is what it is on that regard. Roy Keane did not hold back either when it comes to his comments. I mean, does Roy Keane ever hold back, though? He said in the past that in good teams, coaches hold players accountable. In great teams, players hold players accountable. We knew that in the past, we've had players who didn't show up. Pogba, Sancho, and then there were leaders in that squad like Nemanja Matic who would fine them if they were late for training and whatnot. And he said that Sancho was like the biggest earner when it came to having to pay fines. We lack leaders in the dressing room. We lack strong individual mentality on and off the pitch, which is why I've said many times now when it comes to rebuilding the squad, we can't neglect experienced players who've won trophies because they're vital on the pitch and in the dressing room. We just can't. Roy said it yesterday. It was great to watch. Yeah, I don't. There's nothing wrong with, like, I have nothing bad to say about Roy Keane when it comes to his. He's very straightforward, and he does. Unlike some pundits, he does actually change his opinion on things when he sees that there are changes. But he's been steadfast in his comments that a lot of players in this squad are just either not good enough, they don't try enough, and they will throw managers on the bus, and they have. Speaking of comments, though, and punditry, how does Jamie Redknapp, how did he become a pundit? The guy just spouts complete and utter nonsense. He can't start any sort of comments without a disparaging remark about United, no matter the context. And quite frankly, he can't even barely string 2 thoughts together. He spoke about Ruben Amorim needing time when he arrives and said, time is of the essence. Well, Jamie, that's not what that means. That's not what that phrase means. In fact, the phrase means pretty much the opposite of that context. And why the F are we listening to Frank Lampard's opinions when it comes to management? We've got a panel here of Roy Keane, Jamie Redknapp, Frank Lampard, and Gary Neville. Quite frankly, a lot of failed managers, not to be disrespectful, but like, why are we listening to Frank Lampard of all people's opinions on management? Kids. If these guys can get work as pundits, you can do anything you set your mind to. I fully believe that. But in any case, those are my 3 thoughts on the match. Garnacho's not that guy yet. We need to start scoring goals, and a huge overhaul and rebuild are needed. And it doesn't seem like I'm the only one who thinks that. I know you guys think that. I know Roy Keane thinks that. It's starting to feel like maybe Sir Jim thinks that. We're going to see what Ineos do. I think this could be a very important January. If Amorim comes in and the system starts clicking and the players buy into it, or he chooses to move some players aside and he sticks with some players, I think that Ineos might try to back that if they can in January. Maybe go for a left back early on. If Wolves are still struggling, maybe we could go for Eight Nori and maybe try to get him out. If Ipswich are still struggling, maybe someone like Leif Davis can come in and help us out. Seems like there are some options there. I think midfielder is probably necessary as well, as I'm looking for. Maybe we could swoop and get Angel Gomez for super cheap in January. Maybe we can send somebody the other way. Maybe we can do a Gomez Eriksson swap in January. I think Eriksson can go to Lille and do pretty well. So we will see. And Redknapp never went to school. Like, I don't get what Jamie Redknapp is doing on TV, quite honestly. There are some pundits I just don't understand. Like Michael Owen, I don't get why he's on there. Souness, obviously. Martin Keown, just stop it. Danny B says, best in class, don't want anything else. That is the whole mantra of Ineos and Sir Jim, right? And Brailsford, best in class, top to bottom. So we're going to see what happens. I think that obviously we're still struggling financially, which is going to play a role. But I think that with some good recruitment, good scouting, and a little bit of creativity in terms, not saying cheat because this isn't Man City, but I think you can make it work. And I think at the end of the day, it needs to be about priorities. And if the priority is to salvage something from the season, then we have no excuse not to try to at least strengthen a little bit in January, whatever that looks like. And I think that that could be one of the good benefits of bringing in Amarim now rather than waiting until the end of the season is we can start that now and not maybe write the entire season off because there is something to be salvaged from the season, whether that's a Europa League, a domestic cup. I don't think we're going to be winning the league whatsoever. I'm going to be super pissed if Liverpool win this, though, but we're going to see how it goes. But I think there's something to be salvaged from the season. So I think that if Amarim comes in, does well, I think we could see something happening in January in terms of sales and transfers go. And it's about keeping that momentum going. It's about strengthening when you're in a position of strength. And if the momentum is carrying us there, we need to keep it going. And that's what you need to do. So in any case, those are my thoughts. Thank you for stopping by and sharing yours as well. I do appreciate that. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you are new, I really do appreciate. We are on the road to 2K subscribers. We are getting close, everyone. So keep that up. Don't forget to go vote in the poll for the topic of stream you want to do for the international break. There's a couple different topics up there, but leave a comment in that poll if you have a different idea as well. But thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Thank you, United TV. Danny, I saw Justin, Darkrow, Usman, I think, popped up early. Thank you guys for stopping by. Come back later on this week. I will do a preview of our Europa League match against PAOK. We're going to see. It's going to be Ruud's third match in charge. Hopefully we can start scoring. I'd like to see some changes made in that lineup, but we're going to talk about that a little later on. Enjoy your day, and I will talk to you guys later on. Thanks.